All right, it's time for a crazy episode. There is a lot to talk about, guys, from expansion to MLS coming to San Diego. There's no shortage of action this offseason in Aztecs football.
Toss to him. Can he get the edge? Gonna try it. He's got it. Record time. Donnell Pumphrey smashes the record.
On the return, it's Rashad Penny. And Penny finds the seam. Penny to the outside. Penny will go the distance.
First and goal. Fake to Penny. Open man. Wells. He leads. He gets the ball. And they say touchdown San Diego State.
Dingwell back to pass. He lofts it up there to the corner. Touchdown Adam Roberts. Scared money don't make no money. Rocky Long and the Aztecs will walk away with a big win in OT.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It's MatteoSanDiego. You can find us at Sons of Monty on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all those socials, and you're going to want to make sure to follow my two co-hosts. It's a football episode for the first time in months. I can't even remember the last time I was sitting in a room with these two knuckleheads. Well, he's no longer protecting our borders. Well, how do you say it? He's no longer he's still protecting our borders from sea to shining sea. He's just out there in the seas. It is back from his training and all the good stuff, and he's got a lot of stories I'm sure I've yet to hear, but it is K5James. What's up, man?
Oh man, it's good to be back. It's good to be back in San Diego. That's the big thing, man. I'm so happy to be back here.
A proud San Diegan once again.
Chula Vista.
Yeah, that's the same thing, man. Still San Diego.
And of course, that is the dirtiest of the Dans, giving James a hard time as usual. What's up, Dirtball Dan?
Yo. What up? What up?
Guys, I don't even know how to act right now. It's so weird having another podcast with you guys, man. It's been a nice long break.
Good, man. I want to say our last one was like post bowl game, right, or something like that. I think we did one about that time.
Dude, I don't even know if we did a post-bowl game. Honestly, did we?
I don't remember.
By the end of the season, we were it was time to move on, you know?
Sputtering to the finish line, dude. It was like we needed a nice long pause, nice long break. You guys got one. I didn't get one because I was all in the basketball. It was a crazy, amazing run. And of course, Dan, you were with me out in Houston for the Final Four. It was like just an most amazing Aztec sports time for us in that March Madness, dude.
Dude, it's my number one sporting event that I've seen on TV or being there. I think that Lamont Butler shot is the biggest San Diego sports event ever. And no, it's awesome. I still haven't completely transferred from basketball to football yet. But I think this is a good start, you know, doing a podcast.
What do you mean, dude? Like a couple days after we got back from Houston, you were like, time to move on, dude. It's time to move on. Like you were texting that at me. What are you talking about, dude?
Well, it's not so much that I'm trying to move on from basketball, but I haven't moved on to football yet, you know?
Gotcha.
Like it hasn't pulled me in.
When you think about it, man, it's really not that far away. I think I heard them when they interviewed Hook today. They said like 107 days away. It's right around the corner, man.
It'll be here faster than we all know it. The football season, the 2023 Aztecs football season, like last year was crazy. I mean, the opening of Snapdragon, this year is year number 2 in the new stadium. And like, we're going to get into a lot of topics because there's a lot of things to talk about outside of football, right? That we all want to get into because this is a huge offseason. It may be the biggest offseason in football history, in school history, if we really think about it. When we talk about expansion, and you know, we've had, you know, TJ Altimore, a big time USC, you know, alum, supporter, all that good stuff, who knows all things Pac-12. That might have been our last recording, you know, as far as being a football centric type of episode, right? But here we are, dude. It's May, guys. And we've yet to sign on. We've yet to receive that Willy Wonka golden ticket to the Pac-12. And like, okay, all the bickering back and forth Pac-12, Big 12, and we're in the middle, just like, okay, who's going to take us? Who wants us? I mean, are you guys feeling uneasy now? Because it feels like it's still a de facto decision, but a lot of it is a shit show.
I mean, it's only a shit show because of the circumstances when they announce that they're going to renegotiate their contract, because otherwise they would be starting right now and nobody would know. Like, when the Big Ten did it, nobody got any updates. No one, it was just kind of doing its thing. But when you're trying to compete, I guess, with the Big 12 and all their propaganda, and then the expansion also captures everybody's imagination as well. So everybody is now. I've never seen a TV contract be so reported on. So, and they typically go about a year. It's just we're on pins and needles, right? Because we so want to be in the Pac-12 or Big 12, whatever you want to say. But and it seems like it's taken so long. But I think under the circumstances, I think they're probably right around the typical timeline.
You think so, James? Because I don't feel like we're the only ones on pins and needles, man.
Well, we're not the only ones on pins and needles, because the Big 12 is looking at it. They think they're going to have like an opportunity to pick over some of the scraps of the Pac-12.
Like vultures just circling around. They think they are.
That's where like a lot of the bad press is coming from, is like the Big 12 side of things, because they want the more bad press, the better, because that helps their chance of maybe picking some of the Eastern Pac-12 teams. So I agree with Dan, man. Like with the Big Ten's big contract, you didn't hear really anything about it until it was almost done, and they had been working on it for a while. And you didn't hear anything about USC and UCLA until like right when it was done. I mean, there was a couple guys who had some inside information from like big donors, but other than that, like none of these like sports media journalists that are experts on that kind of thing, none of them really had any of that information. Everybody's on pins and needles because it's under such a microscope because of all the different parties involved and all the different parties waiting for it to happen. You not only San Diego State and SMU possibly, but like, Fresno State thinks they have a chance to get in, and Boise State always thinks they have a chance to get in. So that it's not just from the Big 12 and the Pac-12 side and then the San Diego State, who everybody feels is the obvious choice, but it's like all these other schools that feel they're on the cusp of possibly getting invited. Even I catch myself, I kind of had to stop myself. Like every night I would check Twitter, all right, latest Pac-12 expansion stuff. Most of it I'd read, and there's all just people arguing about it, not a whole lot of real information. So it doesn't seem like there's a lot of real information coming out, which to me, that means it's a good thing, because I imagine that means they're getting closer to like finalizing the deal.
The thing is really, if you think about it, I know the Pac-12 is getting slammed, but they're just doing their thing, really. They're not talking about the deal. I mean, they're not releasing any information. So they're being pretty private, which is what most people would do. You don't want to negotiate something, but they are receiving grenades from the Big 12's, I guess, strategic propaganda campaign. And dude, a lot of people buy into it, but really at the grand scheme of things, it's mostly Twitter. It's like, it's not the real world, and the presidents don't give a crap about the Joe Schmo from Texas. They don't care. They're going to take their time. They're going to do what they do.
The presidents are like multi-billion-dollar corporation CEOs. They don't give a damn about our timelines. They have their own timelines, their own stuff, and that's all they care about. And this is like a small part of their bottom line anyway. So this is not like, it's a priority right now just because it's, the future of their athletic departments, but it's not some like make or break thing for each school, pretty much.
Now, there is that deadline, though.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
You can't have SDSU put the notice in, right, and not have the TV contract finalized, because say they don't get it finalized and say all the schools go to the Big 12 or some crap like that. So there is, for San Diego State's side, there is something that they're going to have to figure out in regards to that, if it gets to that, because some people say late summer still, or so it's gonna come down to that.
I know we've mentioned it before. You're referring to the Aztecs. San Diego State they have a deadline to leave the Mountain West. Otherwise, they got to cough up, millions of dollars as an exit fee, right?
Yeah, I'd guess they could probably handle it in two ways. They'd just go there the following year if they had to.
Yeah.
Or pay the difference, or, whatever. Maybe it could be subsidized a little bit. it's about double the exit
Yeah.
fee, triple or something.
I want to say it goes from like 15 million to 30 million if they don't announce by then and leave within the year.
Yeah, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
If, let's say, they're talking about, $30 million a team roughly for the new Pac-12, like, if that's almost a full year, the difference. It's like half a full year, the difference in revenue. So that's like a big deal. We're not talking chump change.
I mean, you guys don't know any of the references on dollar amounts that's been leaked out there, right? Or just what's comparable to what the Big 12. I mean, is it going to be worth more than what the Big 12 you guys think, or on par, under?
Dude, I think I'm pretty versed in it, honestly. Every news report I see, I think it'll be more than the Big 12. From what this article I read from this Utah lady, she thinks that the linear contract has already been done. Now it's just doing the online stuff, which is really difficult. They're new to the game. They're going back and forth. I think like if 31 million is what, the Big 12 got, I would guess like the Pac-12 is probably going to be 34, something, 35, something like 33, something right around there. Not like earth shattering. And they might sacrifice, they might want more money, but then sacrificing having to stream more. But the Big 12 is streaming a lot too. They're streaming on ESPN Plus, so people don't think that's streaming, but it is.
Yeah, I've heard anywhere from the low end, like 24, 25, all the way up to, like Dan was saying, like 35, 36 for like the high end. And from what I understand, like the higher it'll go, the higher it could possibly get is if they lean on streaming more to either Apple or Amazon, whichever one wants to be the guy, basically.
And some of that's what I'm getting it from is just a lot of the interviews with the presidents. They're talking about, oh yeah, they think they could beat it, or they're going for a good deal, things like that. But as soon as it's released, it's going to be such a shit show.
Yeah.
Like they're going to be picking apart. They're going to say, oh, what about production cost? And, what about the Pac-12? It's going to be Pac-12 network. And it's just going to be so ugly.
Yeah, you think it's bad now? Wait till the actual numbers come out, and wait till they actually decide on the teams. Then it's going to turn into a real shit show.
Are we still feeling confident it's us and SMU?
Yeah,
I'm super confident. I'm like 95% sure San Diego State is going to be in. SMU, I don't know. Like if there's somebody else, it'll be SMU, I think. But I think it's possible, very possible, they could stay at 11.
Yeah.
I mean, if you heard the interviews from like the Arizona president, he basically says it's, San Diego's State will be the team if they all stay together. Or you hear from Washington State, they're just hinting at it enough that, I mean, they literally brought up San Diego State's name, specifically the Arizona president,
I know JD's comments lately made a big stir nationwide. Hey, we're going to be in the Pac-12 or the Big 12. We're going to be fine. And, for him to just like boldly put that out there, very casually, but boldly, like a lot of people want to make that as their headlines. Like, oh my God, it's so controversial, but we've been hearing this, for months now. That's not really any big news or enlightenment for us.
It's funny. I read that article the other day. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. And then last night when I was looking for the latest information, like it popped up on some show in Utah, some radio show. I guess the guy's a real like anti-Pac-12 guy. And he like
Monty.
Yeah. And it was like, I didn't listen to the interview because I just didn't care enough to listen to it. But like the title was like the SDSU athletic director like sticks his foot in his mouth, like turned it like a huge thing. He was trying to make it a big deal.
It was in the spin zone.
Definitely.
Fake news. Man, I'm just ready for it to happen already. I know everybody else is. Go figure when San Diego State gets to a Power 5, potential Power 5 conference, it's going to drag on like this. This has been, despite the Final Four run that we had in basketball, it's like we still got to drag this thing out. I'm ready.
And then also like the time that San Diego State joins the P5 is when really there's going to be the P2, you kind of like the P3 and then P5. There's going to be some separation there.
Yeah.
But hey, if conference champs get that playoff spot,
not only that, but just like we've talked about before, going to the Pac-12, just the rivalries we can have, the the road trips that are easier, more fun, and, you know, obviously significantly more money, but just, you know, going to Arizona State, going to Arizona, going to even Utah was a good time. The Bay Area, they're much easier road trips. And even like we're talking about going to Corvallis, like that's a pretty easy flight. And yeah, it's going to be a better situation no matter how you look at it.
Well, I know we're talking about that Oregon State trip. Like you said, James, Corvallis, that's the destination. We try to make at least one big road trip every season, the Sons of Money crew. And that looks to be the one that we're circling on the calendar, getting excited for that one. If you guys never been out to Corvallis, basically you stay in Portland and then you make that drive down to Corvallis, I think it is. Up.
Yeah, it's down. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's been a while. I was there last time we played out there. It was a great time. I mean, Portland it's a weird city, right? They kind of pride themselves on being kind of like Austin, you know, being like a weird free city, I guess, you know, but you're out there in the woods and the forest. There's a lot outdoor stuff to do. So I'm excited about that. Okay, so that leads us into I think we could transition into MLS now, because here's the thing, guys. Nobody expected San Diego State to get any kind of mention to being jumped to a Power 5. That was like one of those things on our bucket list that we wanted for the program, right? It's like, go to a Power 5 somehow, you know, get our own stadium somehow. We got the stadium now, right? And now with that, this opportune time comes that we may be joining a power conference or making that jump up. So we've kind of already pulled out our receipts when it came to the stadium a bit. And, you know, it feels like, okay, a lot of those people that were saying we would never get the stadium, we would never get a Power 5 invite, are the same ones that said San Diego State Stadium would never bring in an MLS team. And man, we bickered. We were involved in so many Twitter wars and, the actual vote. I mean, we put a lot of time and effort into that whole vote and all that stuff. And now we're hearing the MLS. MLS is likely coming to San Diego and most likely going to play at Snapdragon Stadium. I mean, what is your guys' reaction when you hear that news right off the bat, guys?
Well, dude, I expect all these soccer fans to be so happy and joyous, but really when you go online, it's more negativity than anything. It's like just because the loyal aren't going to be involved, or they think the loyal is going to be trampled on and, you know, kind of second-class citizens. So they're not even enjoying this, which is what they wanted the whole time. It was all about MLS forever. But it seems like it's just more about Landon Donovan. Like, they love him so much that it's almost like they'd rather almost not even have an MLS team.
So for those that are watching and maybe new to this issue and everything that we're even talking about, so a few years ago when San Diego State wanted to build a new stadium, there was a vote in Mission Valley. It was like a war for that land in Mission Valley where the Chargers vacated their stadium, right? San Diego State won the vote, demolished the old Qualcomm, built Snapdragon Stadium. But our main opposition to get that land was a soccer investment group. Now, you know, Landon Donovan was part of that group, and somehow he kind of trickled his way down into the SD Loyal, which is the USL, which is like a second tier soccer. I mean, that's pretty fair to say it's like a second tier soccer level here in the United States, right, guys? I mean, yeah, what it is, right? But their whole issue, like what you guys are saying, is that they claim that a San Diego State stadium would never be able to bring an MLS team. Like you just said, Dan, you know, that's what they wanted. That's what that vote was all about, getting an MLS team with Landon. And even with Landon now as being a part of the Loyal, James, they're not getting it. They're not going to get an MLS team. This new ownership group, which, let's get the facts straight, the Mansour family is what they're known for. They're Egyptian group, but based out of London. They are major players in the soccer world. And they're teaming up with Saquon, which is, right, we all know Saquon here in San Diego County. So, I mean, that connection, they're going to be doing things on such a big scale compared to what the Loyal are doing. So, I mean, we should all be happy about this, right, James?
You would think that they would be ecstatic, because that's like, you know, like the Steinbrenners coming in and buying a team for you. You know, it's a group that has a lot of money. They like soccer and they support soccer and they're into it. and they have another local group that spends a lot of money in the city. You'd think that'd be like the perfect thing, because they don't want to start this team and have it be unsuccessful, because that's what they like. That was kind of like my main gripe. I know you said we already did our receipts about this, man, but I don't care. That was my main gripe, is like the FS Investor Group. They had like no connections to soccer other than when they brought in Landon Donovan. But none of the group that got together and decided they want that land, none of them had any real connection to soccer. Soccer was just a vehicle for them to get that land and develop it and make a ton of money developing it.
They did have that Juan Manuel Marquez connection right south of the border, but I don't think that was
for real. I think that was just kind of, it was, he saw a good chance to make some money because it was a good plan they put together.
Right.
But it wasn't a good plan as far as what's best for the city, the community. It was a good plan to make them a bunch of money. And there's nothing wrong with that. But there was another plan, thank God, San Diego State came up with, where it's good for the city, it's good for the community, it's good for San Diego State. Everybody wins, kind of thing. And this is an example of everybody winning. What do we say when the main arguments they threw at us were, this isn't going to get you to the Power Five. This, you'll never get it done. You're never going to build anything. You're not going to build any classrooms there. You're just going to sell it to developers, and you're never going to build anything. And then you're never going to get an MLS team, even if you do build a stadium. And now, look, an MLS team has come into play at the stadium that we built, and we said from the beginning it was going to be soccer friendly. And what do you know? We're going to have an MLS team in San Diego. I feel bad in a way for them, because that FS Investor Group kind of hijacked the soccer community and turned them into supporters of them, and not so much supporters of what's good for soccer in San Diego and good for the overall community. Because right now, like, if you're a soccer fan, you should be ecstatic. We're going to have not for sure, but it's looking like we're going to have an MLS team playing at a beautiful stadium that's already pretty much paid for. So I don't get all this pushback. You know, the only difference is, like you said, Landon Donovan's not involved. Well, I got one of these for Landon Donovan.
Dan, I want to get your opinion on something, because one of the big gripes that these soccer supporters in San Diego had against SDSU and their stadium was that no MLS team is going to bring a franchise without owning a stadium. And one of the things that we know about this, billion-dollar group that wants to bring MLS, is that the reports are that they would actually sign a lease to play at Snapdragon Stadium. I found that to be just incredibly mind-blowing, that it goes completely against what we've been hearing for the last several years, that a group wouldn't actually own a stadium and play in it. And that's exactly what they're prepared to do.
I guess there's a couple other cities where they lease as well. Another thing is now all of a sudden they don't need canopies.
I saw that.
It was all about, they need canopies. Now all of a sudden no canopies. So, dude, I think the MLS is pretty flexible, and they're just going to go with what could get done. And they have the MLS has a great opportunity with a billionaire owner. And I love the fact that it's a lease. I didn't want equity. I didn't want them to be a partner in the stadium. I like the lease. So hopefully they could come up with some pretty fair but favorable terms for SDSU. But yeah, man, the whole city should be excited about this. The funny thing is the Loyal are going to be the third team in San Diego, because the Wave are much bigger than them. Yep. And the Wave, the Wave has been a great partner at Snapdragon. And you think that only helps with the new ownership group. They see how the Wave are doing it, and they're leasing it.
Yeah. No, that's key. I think that example of seeing how the Wave have been so successful at Snapdragon. Those games are electric. The performance, the staging is all set, and it's a great atmosphere. You cannot walk away from seeing that and saying, look, if we have an actual MLS team with the top caliber players in the sport in the United States, like, it's going to be a hit. So I don't want to gloss over this group. It's, from what I'm seeing, Mohammed Mansour is basically in charge of this group, and I believe it's his son or a family member. His name is Lautfi. I believe he's overseeing the Right to Dream Youth Soccer Academy that they have. This is based out of like Ghana, Denmark, and Egypt. Like they have these youth academies already set in place. And that was one of the big things the soccer community really wanted in San Diego. Well, likely you're going to get that with this group, with this Mansour group. So, I mean, the infrastructure is like top notch. It's set. They're probably going to bring it here to Southern California or some type of connection. So, I mean, this is a huge deal, and why everyone's not on board with it. Like I put it on Twitter. Imagine the NHL coming to San Diego, but saying, we don't want to call ourselves the Goals. We don't want to be a minor league, infrastructure. Like we want to name it something else. We're going to be something to NHL standards. Like I love the Goals. I'm not going to turn that down though. I'm not going to turn NHL down. Like, you kidding me?
Dude, there's people ready to strike on this. I mean, it's so silly. I mean, let's be real here. What the Loyal have a following of, say, 4,000 or 5,000 fans, I'd guess. Like, come on, dude. This is a chance to make soccer mainstream in San Diego, and you're like worrying about the Loyal and what's going to happen to them. And Darren Smith in particular, man, he's not even enjoying it. Like I heard like an interview, and then afterwards he just seems so sad that. Some of these people are talking about it more in the big picture, as far as how MLS does this into all the cities. It kills the ground roots soccer. That's, so I get that, but particular to San Diego, I mean, I thought MLS is what everybody wanted, and we're going to have a team, and it's going to be great, and we're going to have a great stadium, and,
But I mean,
I'll never go to those games, but I'm sure a lot of people will.
I might go to a few, but like even they want to talk about killing grassroots soccer communities. Like that's not like San Diego. Like the Loyal have some great grassroots soccer community. I mean, they're 4,000 or 5,000 strong that they have are awesome soccer fans. Obviously, that's grassroots. But like when they built that stadium in Cincinnati, they were getting like 19,000, 20,000 people at their games before they built the soccer specific stadium when they were playing at University of Cincinnati Stadium. So, and look at up in Sacramento, they had a huge following for their USL, I get it mixed up. Their USL. And they came in, and the MLS kind of screwed them over. Their grassroots. So like ours is like a budding grassroots, like pro soccer town. But let's not pretend like it's years and years of tradition that they're just coming and undercutting. It was like the beginnings of one, but why not just start from the top? Like that's what they wanted to do in the first place when they were going to undercut San Diego State.
So
Exactly.
I was going to say on Twitter, I got some responses, and it's kind of along the lines of what you're talking about, James, right? Like we don't have this long history of soccer community. Like I applaud the Loyal for what they've done to this point. They kind of helped further along that community, right? I won't knock that. But some of the things on Twitter I want to answer to, because I said I would. And, somebody asked, well, can both pro soccer teams exist in San Diego? Can we have an MLS team and a USL team? I mean, technically, yeah, you can have both. But let's think about this. Like, what did the Loyal essentially do to 1904? 1904 started their pro soccer team before they did. Well, what happened? The Loyal started up, and they pretty much did exactly what the MLS is going to do to the Loyal. Like, let's talk about the Sockers, right? The Sockers, they moved out of their arena. I mean, it's indoor soccer, but they moved up North County, and they're building their own thing. So it's like, okay, well, that wasn't completely on the Loyal, but you can't tell me that didn't have a factor. Like, there's only so many balls to kick around in San Diego County that are soccer balls that people are going to pay and go see. Like, I love the phrase, you got to go where you can grow. I mean, you can apply it to business, apply it to your family, apply it to whatever. You got to find where you can grow. And for the Sockers, they had to go to North County. If that's where the majority of their their supporting dollars were going to come from, you got to go to where your audience is, right? It wasn't going to be at that old sports arena that much longer anymore. When it comes to the Loyal, okay, like I said, they kind of started something further down the line a little bit. But now we're talking about a whole different level. Like when MLS comes to San Diego, I don't think there's going to be room for 2 pro soccer teams in this town. Technically, can they probably still do it, the Loyal? Sure. But you're going to be...
There's a couple, right?
I mean, yeah, but let's be real. How many corporate dollars are out there in San Diego County to support 2 professional soccer teams? Like we've never had even one. So to have an MLS team to this magnitude from a billionaire owner, they're going to pull in some corporate dollars for sponsorships, for all kind of partnerships. Like Loyal, you can hang around, but you're going to have to get real crafty and, find your route or your area to grow in San Diego. Maybe they decide to go to South Bay. Maybe they decide to go to North County as well. But where are you going to go? I don't think it can happen, guys.
I mean, they could find a niche, but yeah, it's obviously everything is the MLS is gonna suck up all the men's soccer dollars in San Diego, and like you said, in my opinion as well.
Dude, the marketing that's gonna come once they have a new team name, they have everything. It's gonna be like, you guys saw it's like Soccer City was huge or whatever. It's gonna be the marketing that you've never like. Loyal's gonna be an afterthought, and that's what they're scared of,
Yeah. Especially with Saquon involved as well. And then if they're going to play at Snapdragon, San Diego State's going to support this new team. You're going to see some of their branding all over the stadium too. So yeah, it's going to be huge.
Dude, I was actually thinking, man, if I'm San Diego State, I get these new part of the lease is I get these people to be able to start donating to NIL for.
I was thinking that too, man. I was thinking that too.
Have that part of like some stipulation or something, dude, because we need that billionaire money to help fund.
Well, how cool was it that the Wave had Lamont Butler come out, dude? How awesome was that?
Yeah, that's cool.
I don't know if you guys caught wind of that. That was totally cool. So, listen, I'm all about soccer in San Diego. I'm all about it. I really want to support it. Like, I think it would be great if it's done right. And, I applaud the Loyal. I want that community to support. We're talking MLS. Like, I mean, we gotta do what's best.
How cool has Alex Morgan been? Like through the whole, like, damn, it's like, I can't wait. I mean, it's probably gonna be like that with MLS too. They're gonna be so supportive of each other. It's pretty awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't think I could love her anymore. And yet I do. I always find ways to love her.
To love her more. I'm excited for that first San Diego MLS Tijuana Cholos friendly, dude. That's gonna be fun, man. At Snapdragon. That'll be a good time.
Well, we'll have to talk a little bit more about soccer when hopefully things become official, because they'll be the 30th team, if so, 30th MLS team, and it took a lot of craziness for that to happen. If it does happen, I'm hopeful that it does. So all you soccer fans, I hope we answer your questions. I hope bring some more questions, because we've been involved in this whole debacle since day one. So we're ready for it. It's all good. And that's going to do it. We want to thank you, the listener and the watcher, for joining us on this Sons of Montezuma podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube, and definitely check out our online shop at sonsofmontezuma.com. We'll be having some more spring and summer styles coming out. And of course, our new NIL football team will be announced during the spring, summer time as well. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Something to be excited about as we go in to another football season. We'll keep you guys posted. Keep it locked. sonsofmontezuma.com. MatteoSanDiego. On behalf of the guys, go Aztecs.
Yo.